Amazing. All right, so Vera Shatskaya, you're from Ukraine.
I'm from Ukraine. Vera Shatskaya, I'm from Ukraine. Yeah, and I was born in Kiev, in the capital of Ukraine. Yeah, so
And now you're living in Lisbon.
yeah, because like things are like this. That after the war started, I had to move to Lisbon with my son, and so yeah, now I'm here.
Now you're here.
Yeah.
And I get to hang out with you. How did we meet again? I think we met at some networking
I
thing
think it
or
was
something.
at She Sapiens event.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think. I'm sure it was there.
The She Sapiens
For the
networking
first time. Yeah,
event.
yeah.
that
And
was
from
great.
that time, we started to to meet more.
Okay. Yeah, and it's cool because we don't only have a friendship, but we also have this crossover in our professional lives. It's really interesting.
Yeah, and it was amazing why I wanted to meet you after that event, because like I have understood that, wow, there is a person who I can connect to because of our professional area and some other stuff. Yeah, so I was very happy to meet you.
Yeah. And you have, I mean, a ton of experience. I'm looking at my notes here. So you have over 19 years experience as a business trainer, organizational consultant, and a facilitator.
Yeah.
And you focus primarily on management and leadership skills, team management, change management. And from our conversations, we've talked about like how you work with people on team interaction skills, communication skills, presentation skills. So, yeah.
We can talk about lots of things because while my professional career, I have been dealing with different companies, so I work with companies, and so there are different learning and development projects or some interesting projects devoted to better team interaction, as you have mentioned, or some strategic sessions. So I have experience in different areas, not only just soft skills, for example, and that is why I'm ready to share.
Great.
Yeah,
we're excited.
I'm ready to answer all of your questions.
All of the questions. Okay, great. So some former clients include, to give you context and also credibility for sure, Nestle, Adidas, Coca-Cola, Kraft Foods, Toyota.
Yeah, it was like it was nowadays I'm focusing more on IT industry. So now I have companies like Wix, for example, or I don't know, Moonactive from game industry, or some Cyclum from staffing and outsourcing. But yes, all these clients that you have mentioned were my clients, and from time to time I can work either with bank or with some FMCG company that you have mentioned, or with some automotive like I don't know, Mercedes or something like Toyota. Yeah, so I have different clients because like it gives me I feel bored to work only with one industry, for example. For me, it's not interesting. I want to see different people, different approaches, and for me, it's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was looking at your, well, actually, no, I want to know first, like, how did you get started in this? Like, what, was there a moment in time that you can share that you were like, I want to do this?
You mean to become a business trainer? Yeah. So I have a very special or interesting story because like I was my background is sales, so I'm B2B sales, and so till now I'm doing a lot as a sales manager to myself and sometimes even to my clients. But so 20 years ago, I worked at the company. We were dealing with selling furniture. And a friend of mine, she was working at some another company. It was international company of leasing the cars, renting cars, something like that. And so their company in that time, it was, I don't remember, 2000s or something like that. They started to provide training sessions for the employees. And she told me, Vera, it's so amazing. Trainings about sales skills, soft skills, communication. And I was very excited about that and started to read in internet what is it about, training, soft skills, sales techniques. And then I started to take this knowledge that I got from internet and started to provide it in my company, like not a trainer, but I don't know, like a manager.
Right.
We were talking and I say, look, I read an article that there are some models or some approaches. And after that, I decided that I want to go into some training company. So I started to monitor internet, some jobs or some companies. And so I applied for the position. It was called sales manager, or sales specialist inside the training company. So at first I went there as a sales specialist, and then after that, in 1 year or something like that, so they offered me to try myself as a trainer because they saw a potential.
They saw potential.
And
I love that.
Yes, and so about 5 or even 7 years, I combined two positions or two directions. So I was working in sales, I was head of sales of that company. And besides that, I was learning, I was studying how to be a trainer or a coach, and then started my career. So I was combining all this.
Oh, nice. Yeah. A similar thing happened to me where I was doing kind of one-off projects with companies, like doing instructional design and writing, and I met someone at the time, and he saw potential in me, and
great.
He was like, "Hey, will you lead this workshop for our company?" And I was like, "I guess, sure, about what?" And he said, "Storytelling," and I was like, okay. It kind of came out of nowhere, but that's been my path for a long time now. So it's wonderful.
Yeah. When people see some potential, it's amazing. I'm grateful to that experience, and to those people, I'm really grateful.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's
so
true.
One of the things that that I found written on your LinkedIn page that stood out to me was, it says, even an excellent strategy doesn't guarantee any results if you don't value your team and you're not able to empower and inspire your people.
Yeah, it's true.
So companies come to you to solve leadership problems, management problems, team problems.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, what is the most common struggle or issue today with why companies aren't able to empower and inspire their teams?
Of course, there could be different answers to this question, I'm thinking. But of course, the core, I think it's about mindset and soft skills. So mindset, what I mean is lots of, for example, middle managers, because I love to work with middle managers because they are motivated to develop, to strengthen, to refresh their skills and so on. And so they do not have, in lots of cases, they do not have this management and leadership mindset. They do not feel identified themselves. What does it mean to be a manager? Or if I'm a team leader, what does it mean? So they don't have this authenticity or understanding what does it mean inside and outside, because they are not able to provide their managerial work, for example, to conduct meetings efficiently or to provide some one-on-ones in order for them to be valuable for both parties, some individual talks, one-on-ones, or, for example, they are not able to implement changes and lots of changes are happening, so they need to understand how to communicate changes to people, how to build this process, for example, and so lots of other stuff. So how to delegate, how to set a task, how to give feedback. So lots of very, I think, routine day-to-day things that they have to do. They are doing these things, but they understand that it is not efficient or productive. They are not satisfied with themselves. And so I think that my purpose, I'm thinking, what is my purpose? But on the one hand, I'm trying to help them to broaden this mindset, to build or to create this mindset. What does it mean to be a manager and a leader? and on the other hand to give them practical tools, practical recommendations in order for them to take these recommendations and after the training go and implement them. So without some lyrics or philosophy, but just what to do. So,
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things when we first met. I remember you were like, "Hey, let's talk," and I was like, "Okay, great." You were wearing a yellow jacket, bright yellow, and I was like, "I want to talk to this woman too."
Yeah.
And that was one of the first things. Like, even without really talking to you, I understood like, oh, what she does is very practical.
Yeah, because I'm a problematic,
Yeah, and I'm super practical too. I don't like, I like theory, I understand theory.
Yes.
But unless you turn theory into action, then what's the point? Like, it's just like knowing a lot of stuff, you know?
Yeah, it's like, you know, if we are talking about this topic of leadership, now it's on hype, so popular topic. And so, but if... to participate in some training activities or workshops or webinars, sometimes these speakers are providing just messages. Be a leader.
Right. And you're like,
you need to be a better leader.
How do I do it?
Yeah, and so it's nothing. For me, it's nothing at all.
Exactly,
So that is why I'm always trying how to provide practical things and practical recommendations to my participants, but on the other hand, how to do it in a simple way, not to be complicated, you know, because there are lots of tools, lots of recommendations, but how to keep it simple.
Not to overwhelm them.
Yes.
Just focus on one thing, master this thing.
Understand this thing. It's true. It's true.
Yeah, so you see these, and would you say that it's like new managers are struggling with these skills? Like when you come into a company, is it largely people who are in new manager roles?
I've got your question. It could be differently, you know. Of course, lots of projects are dedicated to these newcomers or new in their newcomers in their management roles. But lots of companies that are trying to be successful, they see that, for example, for the retention of the senior specialists or some experts or some guys who are really professionals, they have to provide some also development and learning programs because they also lack, they want. And so from time to time, I have projects for more advanced. And so we are trying to find which kind of soft skills or which kind of topics we can cover. For example, if for basic we can just talk about delegation or something, feedback and meetings and motivation on a basic level. So for advanced we can talk about more deep topics about change management, coaching, mentoring, for example, empathetic communication. So lots of things that could be advanced.
Learning and development is really key in companies, and I've noticed that younger people, younger meaning younger than us, which is a lot. Well,
like this, it's life.
I know. I was talking to a friend last night, and I said something like "young people," and he was like, "What do you mean, young people?" And I was like, "People your age," and he's like 30, you know. But whatever. But I've noticed that that's something that young people, millennials, Gen Z, they want that. They're looking for opportunities to grow. And I don't necessarily know if that was the case 10, 15 years ago. So I want to talk to you about communication skills.
Okay.
Imagine that. What role do you see communication skills playing in team, manager, company success?
Oh, huge. It's a huge role. But like it's like obvious. Of course it's huge because like when I'm thinking about leadership, for example, for me trust is the foundation. And how it is possible to build trust with people, how to build this connection and sense of belonging without communication. It's impossible. So that is why I cannot imagine, for example, how not to develop your communication skills if you want to better manage or better lead or something like that. So that is why I think that starting from the C level, when they have some strategy in their minds or they have some goals, they have to communicate that, they have to encourage people, they have to inspire people. It's like very essential. For example,
it's basic.
It's basic. And also in a team, when people want to deal with some task or with some challenge, again, so it is impossible without communication even to understand what should be the desired outcome, how to solve what. So it's like it's core. But again, on the one hand, everybody understands that. But on the other hand,
nobody. I know it's
it's like I don't know. It's like it's as it is. But each time I'm thinking about that. Why?
I know.
What do you think? Why?
Why don't they know?
Yes. Why don't they pay special attention to that? Why they do not want to choose this as a priority?
I think that we've, like in school, we're never taught how to communicate. It's not a subject. We're taught foreign languages, but we're not taught how to like actually communicate with each other. And I just think it's not on the radar. I think it's becoming more like seen as an area of development. Like for example, when I go out, personally, professionally, whatever, and people say, "What do you do?" And I say, "I teach people how to communicate better." And every single time, they're like, "I need that."
Right? I've noticed that. It's true.
And it's not something like people don't wake up in the morning saying, "I need to work on my communication skills."
It's not like
But then, of course, when you're in personal relationships, especially relationships with partners, even like business partners, intimate personal relationships, the conflict that comes up is 99% of the time it's because of the communication style. And so I'm sure, I don't know from personal experience, but I'm sure that a lot of couples therapy is focused around communication skills. And like, hey, if you want this or if you need this, here's how to communicate that. And we're just not taught that, and I think it should be taught in schools, actually. That would be a really important and like core foundational subject for people. And I would recommend like start really early, like when they're kids, because then you get these habits and you can be more successful.
It's true.
So with communication skills, so communication skills, big topic, right? What are some of the areas that you help these both managers, team members, like even C-suite? What are some of the areas that you help people with?
When we're talking about communication, you mean? So it's easier for me to say what I'm not specialized. So for example, if we're talking about public speaking, so usually very seldom I can devote my time and invest my time into this topic. Sometimes yes, but it's not my core, for example, to
but
provide
I've seen
this.
you
I know.
public speaking and presenting, and you're really good.
Because like it's like my skills of training.
I went to this event,
Global Forum,
2 months ago or something like that, and usually I'm not impressed by presenters, honestly, right? Like I teach this stuff. I have a high bar. I can be critical, and for me, it's all about like, is your message getting across clearly? And are you keeping me engaged? And you did both so well. And everybody was just like, hanging on your every word. So you're really
thank
great.
you. Thank you. I appreciate your feedback. I feel good.
I want to shift the conversation a little bit towards something that's really dear to my heart, and the main reason why I do communication skills and teach people communication skills, and that is connection. Really, everything I do is because I value connection, and I want to help other people connect. And when I notice that people aren't doing that, my soul dies a little bit. And so every day I'm really focused on, okay, how can I get these people to connect better? How can I connect with people better? And so what came up for me when I was thinking about talking with you is that, since COVID, a significant portion of the workforce has gone online. And so we have like this remote workforce. And I don't know the exact numbers, but I think I was doing a little bit of research, and I think it's something like 14% of the workforce, and I don't know if that's global or US, I'm not sure, is fully remote.
Yeah.
And then there's maybe it's like 30% is partially remote or something. But, big picture, a lot of us are working from home. A lot of teams are working remotely.
Yeah.
And that's really impacted the way we do work significantly. So questions I have for you are, first of all, like big picture, why does connection matter in the workplace? We'll just start there.
Okay. I think that connection matters because it's the only way to build trust, I think. So we have to be connected like human to human. I do believe that but when we work not like our working style or our working approaches are not only about tasks or deadlines or commitments, but also about our mutual understanding, sense of belonging, supporting each other, and lots of such things. That is why from the high level perspective, I think it's about building trust. And it's very important if you want to work in a team. So I do not believe in a teamwork without trust. So in this case, it is not a team, it's like a group of people, for example.
Right.
And when people are connected, they can build trust, they can rely on each other, they can feel each other, they can provide empathy, they can provide open feedbacks and so on. And it helps them to get amazing results.
Yeah. I work with a lot of remote teams.
Yeah.
I work with all remote teams. And for example, a company of 30 people, and I'll work with the whole team, and then I'll work with individuals on the team. And what I've noticed is that when I'm a fly on the wall in meetings, I've noticed that most of these companies, they totally skip the connection piece at the beginning, and they go right into, okay, here's the agenda, here's what we need to get accomplished today. And when I've asked leaders at these companies about that, I say, hey, connection is super important. I've noticed that you're not doing that at the beginning of your meetings. And the answer that I almost always get is like, well, we don't have time for that.
I was also thinking about this popular answer. We have no time. Yeah, we have no time. And they have no time, and it's true because they are overwhelmed usually with their tasks and so on. But I think also the problem is that they do not value this part. They do not understand the purpose and why they need, or what would be the added value, or even just the value of this. That is why I think they do not devote their time and energy and efforts for small talks or for some check-ins at the beginning, or some emotional part and talks with their people. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And what would you say, because one of the things that I always say is I push back and say, well, if you're not connecting at the beginning, then you're going to waste time later because you're going to have issues that arise because you're not connected.
Yeah, it's true, because it's much more complicated to deliver your messages, to negotiate, and to agree on something even. Yeah, sure. And by the way, we let's take the easiest tool that we have, not tool, but approach to have these cameras on.
Oh, yes. Right, cameras on.
Lots of remote teams, they do not use this rule.
I can't even imagine.
even this simple thing they do not value at all.
Right.
And for me personally, I cannot even imagine, I cannot understand how can they impact each other without cameras. It's impossible.
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Oh, 100%. I mean, one of the first workshops I ever taught to a company, that was the first thing that I taught.
Yeah.
Because people showed up to the workshop and their cameras were off, and I was like, hey, lesson number 1, like let's connect, let's turn on our cameras. And it seems so basic.
Yeah, but in real life it seems so basic for us, but in real life it is too complicated to implement this culture of cameras and of this connection in companies. And
why is it complicated?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. First of all, of course, COVID has impacted a lot, so people started to be more reserved, more, I don't know, maybe less trustful, less open. They have lost their soft skills, and so they do not feel comfortable and relaxing. And on the one hand, it's because of this, but on the other hand, I think they do not value, and companies or leaders of these companies, they do not want to nurture this culture of human-to-human connection, of psychological safety, of this teamwork, and so on. So lots of leaders, they do not invest their time in building this culture.
And do you think they don't want to invest in that because they don't see the value? Because it would seem to me like if you understood the value of creating that culture of connection and positivity and empathy and all these things, if you saw the data on that, then you would want to invest in it. So why do you think that they don't want to, or is it that not that they don't want to, but they just, again, it's like, well, we don't have time to focus on that. We've got to focus on our KPIs or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's like this. They don't have time because they want to get their profits and so on. And so they are more engaged into urgent tasks than important ones. And that is why they're missing their opportunities. But on the other hand, I think they do not have skills. I think that lots of leaders, they are immature in their leadership skills. Yeah. And that is why they, for example, if we're talking about connection, your topic, for example, in most cases, it is very hard for them to deliver inspiring message, for example, about cameras. And when we are discussing this, I'm telling that, look, it's not only once you have to do it. It's like regular communication,
for sure.
To remind, to inspire, to engage, and maybe in some months of such regular communication from different perspectives, you can achieve this goal that your team will take this rule and everything will be okay. And for them, regular communication, so almost every meeting to deliver this very message, and they do not have skills. They do not know how to change their messages in order for them to be interesting, how to be inspiring, how to be clear and motivating. They do not have these skills. And so again, in order to obtain these skills, they have to practice, and it's hard work and so on and so forth. So for them, it's easier to say, oh, I have no time. I understand that it's important. So again, it's their own responsibility. If leaders have this motivation to develop their skills, of course they do. They try to find ways. They go to trainings. They prepare themselves for these meetings. Lots of them, they do not prepare. Even, you know.
Yeah,
this.
I know. I know.
You know this.
I know. Yeah. And I'm curious. I don't know if you have data off the top of your head, but what do you know about connection and how it impacts performance, like team performance?
No, I don't have data, but I think significantly. Now I'm thinking which data I can recall. Yeah. But I think I think significantly, but no, no. I'm frustrated, which kind, because I have never met data about connection, maybe about some teamwork. some
Right.
teamwork, and it could be really significant for
Yeah, I mean,
improving the results.
I don't have the data either, but there's been like an upsurge of these like team building activities and workshops, and I used to live in San Francisco, and that was a big thing. Everybody was always looking for, where are we going to do our team building activity? And I remember that people would often talk about that with a little chip on their shoulder, like, oh, team building, and sure, it felt like a box that you had to tick, but I think if you really talk to people and you said, hey, so how are your team dynamics before and after that successful team building event? Like, of course, there are some that are not successful, but I think that most people would say, oh, they improved.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. I can say that, for example, I do not know the figures, but sure, from the feedback of my clients, for example, we are discussing these metrics like transparency, more effective communication, keeping promises, and increasing the performance in general, in order to provide good results, more clear way to understand the requirements, for example, from the stakeholders, and in this very case, mutual collaboration with stakeholders is becoming better and easier and quicker. So of course, lots of metrics because of this communication and interaction. If we work with it or if we improve it, of course it impacts lots of areas and aspects of teamwork, of course, for sure.
So when you go in and you start an engagement with a company and you notice, like there's not a whole lot of psychological safety, they're not connecting before they get into work, like you notice all these red flags everywhere. Where do you start? What's your strategy?
My strategy, like if I have some, for example, scheduled sessions, training sessions, and I know that I have some of them. So what I'm doing, I do believe in trust. We have mentioned it. And I do believe that trust is not about some philosophy or some lyrics or some complicated thing. I do believe that trust starts from getting to know each other better. So if people know each other better, not only from professional but from personal perspective, it helps them, it makes it easier to feel safer because I know you, so I feel safer. I can rely because I know you, because like
I know how you're going to respond to something.
Or I know something about you, and we have something in common, so it could be in different ways. And so what I'm doing, if I have short time, I'm just providing these connection exercises at the beginning or in the middle of the session or at the end. For example, people can share, for example, I love the question, what was the way, or could you share your experience, how you earned your first money? Tell us.
Oh, that's an interesting question. You mean like your first job?
It could not be a job. It could be some experience. But money, for example. And lots of guys are telling stories when I was 14, when I was 16. So it was not a job.
It's not career related.
Yes. It was some kind of entrepreneurship attempt or some kind of funny story. Or for example, I love the exercise. It is also this one is very popular. For example, everybody is writing 3 facts about himself or herself, but 2 of them are truth, true, and one's
a lie.
Wrong. And so I'm articulating, and then everybody tries to guess. Discussing.
I've done this before.
And usually it helps. It's not so long, but it's really funny, and people are sharing different areas, personal, not personal, childhood, or I don't know, adults. And so it's amazing. And so if to provide such exercises, small ones, but on a regular basis, people start to get to know each other better, and for them it is easier to discuss, to agree, to argue, to I don't know,
to have a laugh.
Yes, to have a laugh together. Yeah, it's
totally
true.
I use that same exercise when I was teaching listening skills.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, like with connection.
Yeah.
If people don't know how to listen,
it's
then
true.
they're not going to connect.
It's true.
And that's one thing that I see all the time too. Is like blah 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 blah. Like I know how to talk really well, but communication skills are also made up of listening, and as a matter of fact 55% of all communication skills are actually just listening, not saying anything.
Yeah, it's true.
And so I was brought into this team, and it was clear that they had a problem listening to each other. So I did that same activity, put them in pairs, 2 truths and a lie, and the person had to listen and then repeat what they said. Like, okay, the first thing you said was this, the second thing, the third thing, and then the one that I think is a lie is this one. And it was...
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, and I did the feedback after. I was like, okay, how is that for you guys? And I think the CEO was like, it's really hard to listen.
Yeah. And I also like the message that I'm providing for my leaders. I'm telling them when we are talking about one-on-ones or even meetings or some kind of interaction with their employees or team members, I'm telling them such a message that, look guys, it's not your show. Yeah. Exactly. Leadership is not your show.
Oh my God. Oh,
like listen,
saying
ask,
the gospel.
Yeah. But it's difficult for them, I understand, because again, I understand why it is, because like they're overwhelmed with the desire to be successful with the performance metrics or profits or something, and they do not want to take too much risks, and that is why they want to provide messages, they want to tell, and I understand this part. But on the other hand, if they do in such a way, it is impossible for people to grow around them, and this is I think this is the biggest problem in companies, that leaders grow but employees grow very slowly.
So what you said is, leadership it's not your show.
Yes, it's not your show.
So what is it?
It's about to grow others. It's about to help your team members to become a team, to work as a team, because it's also an art. It's also about deep things. And of course be result oriented towards goals or vision that you are providing or we are providing, because I do believe that businesses go to participative mode of interaction. What it means that of course you are a leader, and of course you're responsible for the strategy, for the goals and so on. But it doesn't mean that you have to do it on your own. So participative, so you should engage. So don't sit alone and think about your goals or your, I don't know, some problems. Go to the team, provide all these team meetings, ask people, engage them. They are smart. I do believe people are smart. They want to make their input. They want to think with you. They want to impact the solutions. Of course, it doesn't mean that you have to take all their ideas and to implement. No. But this energy of teamwork, engaging, communication, again, because it's about discussions, coming to agreement, questioning. I think that this is the only way to generate the most successful solutions or ideas. Because this is like collective brains. It's not about you that you are seeing.
I mean, I have a lot of great ideas, but I also know that when I work with other people, we have better ideas.
Better ideas, because we're combining.
Exactly.
We are combining.
So, okay, I want to wrap us up with one big question. And that question is this. When you think about someone who communicates with confidence, like what does that look like to you?
So It's about being clear, clear messages, clear impact with your words. It's about metaphors or some examples or some storytelling, because it's about being interesting, being inspiring. It's about non-verbal and verbal communication. So I mean some gestures, some eye contact, smiles. So it's about something like that, of course. And it's about connection with the audience. I think it's about the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because all confident people, they want to talk with audience.
Yeah.
They do not
They
want to
connect.
Yes,
Yeah.
they want to connect.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's true.
Well, thank you for connecting with me
Yeah,
in this interview. Thank you for your
Rebecca.
time. Yeah.
Thank you. It
Thank
was
you.
it was pleasure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
thank
Vera.
you.